Pardon me, I didn't have the time to go and do my vibhuti and all, so you will see me without vibhuti. It's been back-to-back calls. Let's get started. Om Ganana Amtva Ganapati Kamavamahe Kavim Kavina Umashvastam Jeshtarajam Brahmana Brahmanaspadana Shinvan Notivasi Sadhanam Shimaha Ganapata Yenamaha Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Virvajini Vati Dina Mavitrevato Maha Saraswati Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Sarvalokanam Vishije Vavaro Ginam Idhe Sarva Vidyanam Shri Dakshina Murti Jai Namaha In Guru Charanaravindabhyam Namaha देवीं वाचमजनयन्त देवाः तां विश्वरूपा पशवो वदन्ति सा नो मन्दिरेषु मूर्जन्दुहाना धेनुर्वागस्मानुप्रतिष्ठितयतु व्यासं वसिष्ठरप्तारं शक्ते पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः शिवशक्तिसमारम्भां भास्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मश्रीनाथपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्री ललिता महात्रिपुर सुंदरी समेत श्री चंद्रमौलीश्वराज नमः श्री कांची कामकोटि पीठाधिपतिगुरु श्री शंकराचार्य श्री चरणयोः प्रणामाः श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. So we are into second Mundaka, second chapter is where we are getting started. Do you have the script right? Sorry? No, in the group I had, last time whatever I shared in the group. You have it or you don't have it? Yeah, open it. Where did we stop last time? We just finished one or second. We finished two. We just finished one. Yeah. So let's go to the second mantra. Second mantra is Yadarchimadhyadhanubhyonucha Yasmin Loka Nihita Lokinascha Yadarchimadhyadhanubhyonucha Yasmin Loka Nihita Lokinascha Tadetadaksharam Brahmasa Pranastaduvangmanah Tadetat Satyam Tadavritam Tadbadhe Tadvedhavyam Somya Vidhi. This is what I was explaining in the Devi Matyam class. The tongue gets locked. Tadetat Satyam Tadamritam Tadvedhavyam Somya Vidhi. Here, each individual word is Yad Archimad, Yad Anubhyonucha, Yasmin Loka Nihita Lokinascha Tad Etad Aksharam Brahmasa Pranas Tad Uvan Manah Tad Etad Satyam Tad Amritam Tad Vedhavyam Saumya Vidhi. These are the words. So Yat means what? Archimat means luminous, very bright, luminous. Anubhyaha, than the atoms. Api, even. Anu, subtler. Yasmin, in what? Lokaha, reference to the worlds. Lokinaha, those that live in those worlds. Nihitaha, fixed. Tat is that. Etat is this. Aksharam, any Guess what that aksharam means? Mhm. Aksharam in the sense, no. Aksharam means the imperishable, the ultimate truth. Yeah. Brahma is Brahman. Brahman. Saha means he. Pranaha is pranas. That means that. Uapi means also. Vak is speech. Manaha is mind. Satyam is true. Amritam means immortal. The reference is to immortal. The elixir. Remember that elixir, which gave the devas the immortal boon. Correct. So there is a reason why I'm giving this clue. And anytime Amrita means immortal, anytime Aksharam means imperishable. Vedhavyam should be struck. Struck. Manasa by the mind. Somya, which is oh good looking youth. Any guess who is being called as oh good looking youth and by whom? Vedhavyam. Vedhavyam means should be struck. You strike the target, right? So past, future tense should be struck. Somya is oh good looking youth. Do you know who is talking about whom? Sage Angirasa is telling Shaunaka. That's how Mundaka Upanishat started, right? So Shaunaka asked Sage Angirasa, what is it that I have to learn by which I will know everything? So he is the one who is telling the young lad, Shaunaka, oh good looking youth. And all this thing he is telling him. Vidhi means strike at. So the full summarized meaning is what is luminous, what is subtler than the subtlest, and in which all the worlds and those that live in them are fixed. Fixed means seated or operational, whatever. Is this imperishable Brahman, right? All of us are in the Brahman. That is prana, that is also the speech, that is also the mind. They are all components of the Brahman, right? And that Purusha is the only truth, ultimate truth. And that Purusha is the only thing that is immortal. Remember the previous class, Sat Asat discussion. Only Brahman, the Purusha is Sat. Everything else is Asat. Hold your thoughts. Good point, but hold your thoughts, and I'll tell you why. So he's saying, oh, good looking youth, strike with thy mind, means your mind, at that which should be struck. If in Hindi you have to summarize this, tu idhar udhar ki baat mat kar, set your sights on that Brahman. That is the only truth. That is the ultimate truth. That is the immortal, imperishable. So when they are talking about sharp or strike with the mind, the component is mind. So idea that the mind should be concentrated upon the Brahman. That is what the meaning of this mantra is. So in the preceding mantra, we talked about Brahman being realized, not experienced. So in this also, what they are trying to describe is the process by which you will reach the realization. You cannot say, I know Brahman. I've read a lot about it, so I know Brahman. Tell me the keyword. Moment you said, I know, what happens? Sorry? No, that is all. Don't go into the philosophical aspect of it. I've given you the structure of the whole process in all these classes. Apply that knowledge. The moment you use the term, I know, what are you doing? You're coming closer, but you're throwing random answers now. But you're coming closer. You're moving towards the target. Okay, let me answer the question. The moment you say no, it is dependent on Panchabhutas, gross body. The gross body looks, touches, feels, sees, hears, etc. And then say the data is processed by the mind and intellect, and then you say, I know. Brahman is beyond all this. That is why you have to realize. So you cannot know Brahman and go to him. You have to realize. Are you getting the clarity, the partition, the zones? So the focus is on the subtler body. So that is why you're talking about mind, intellect, etc. These are all subtle part of the body, not the gross part of the body. Correct? So cut off this gross aspect of it. I see, I sense, I know, I hear, I taste, I smell. Come out of it. Use that mind, tighten it. Don't let it get distracted by anything. And all you need to see and believe is that Brahman, and say, I will get immersed into that Brahman. And that is possible only if you first set your sights on the target. Are we making clear? Let's go to the next mantra. Are you seriously clear about this, or you want me to repeat anything? Okay. Mantra number 3. Dhanurgruhitvaupaniषदं धनुर्गृहीत्वौपनिषदं महास्त्रं शरं ह्युपासानिशितं सन्धयीत आयम्य तद् भावगतेन चेतसा लक्ष्यं तदेवाक्षरं सौम्य विद्धि. So you already know Soumya, right? What is the meaning? Good looking youth. Correct. Youth. So, no, that is fine. But good looking youth is about Shaunaka. The reference is to Shaunaka. So, Dhanur, Grihivta, Grihitva, Upanishadam, Mahastram, Sharam, Hya, Upasa, Nishitam, Sandhahita, Ayamya, Tad, Bhavagatena, Chetasa, Lakshyam, Tad, Evaksharam, Saumya, Vidhi. These are the words. So let us go to each of the words' meaning. Upanishadam, as prescribed in the Upanishads. Mahastram, the mighty weapon. Can anybody tell me why it is called Maha? Okay, that is why I asked that word. See, there are different words, big, large, etc. They all have different meaning. That is why there are different words. Maha means grand. Mahadeva, Mahalakshmi. Correct? Mahamanasa. So Mahastra means grand, not just big, mighty. If you look at the cosmos, will you see the cosmos is very big? So that is what you need to understand. Correct. And exactly. So in the context of Panchopachara that we do, can you explain how this connects there? Perfect. Perfect. Yes. That is why it is Kalpayami, not Samarpayami. Samarpayami and all. Yeah. Yeah. Sandarshayami. Correct. Because it doesn't belong to you. She's the one who's created it. So you can't give something to her, Samarpayami, which she already owns. So that is why you're visualizing that you are so big and so grand that I am not even qualified to do that. So I'm imagining that I'm offering you this. Good. Correct. Exactly. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Dhanuhu means bow. Grihitva, taking. Upasa, by constant worship. Please underline that word, by constant worship. It's not just I did today, 2 days I've taken a break, then third day again I start. Constant worship. I would like to ask one example that you can think of in the field of cooking. If you can imagine that, you will understand the meaning of this part. Have you seen in TV shows there are people who can chop vegetables like this? Can you do it? You'll never dare to do it because you're afraid that you'll chop your fingers off. But if you look at the other side, it's the same human being that is doing it. How did they manage to reach there? It is by constantly doing the same thing over and over again. The eye hand coordination, everything is so fine tuned that they can afford to go at that speed. Correct? So, purpose of constant worship is to fine tune and sharpen the whole thing. So, if you do worship today, 2 days later you come back again, you don't know where you left, what you started. Like I keep asking the question, no, where did we stop last time? That shows there is not enough focus. If I were dreaming of this class every day of the week, then I don't need to ask that question. So, it's constant worship is very important. Nishitam is sharpened. Nishitam is sharpened. Sharam is arrow. We talked about the dhanu, bow. Sharam is arrow. Sandhayita means must be fixed. Somya is oh good looking youth. Tad bhavagatena means absorbed in his thought. His means the reference is who? Absorbed in his thought. Who is the his? Correct. Brahman, right? Absorbed in his thought. Chetasa, Brahman. Chetasa, with mind. Ayamya is having drawn. Lakshyam is the mark. Mark means the target, the goal, end goal, the final target. Aksharam means the imperishable Brahman. Vidhi is hit. So the meaning is taking the bow, the mighty weapon, as prescribed in the Upanishads, fix in it the arrow. Take the bow, fix in it the arrow, rendered sharp by constant worship. So you don't want a blunt arrow that will go and hit and fall off. You want a very sharpened arrow. Oh, good looking youth, having drawn it with the mind absorbed in his thought, hit that mark, and the mark is imperishable Brahman. Now, if you understand this mantra, you will not ask, how do I get moksha? How do I get to practice and attain liberation? What do I have to do? The answer is here. So now let us take a step back slowly. The arrow is rendered sharp because of what? That is what is the meaning of sharpening. Correct. 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 So now constant worship is understood. So if every day you worship, you are sharpening your mind. So the mind is that arrow, right? What he says is you draw that arrow and focus on Brahman, the target. Here we are talking of the mind has to be controlled. It's all about the mind. It's all about the mind. Anybody who has been hearing me for the last 6 years, even before Mundaka Upanishat, will agree that I've been laser focused on mind. I've never given importance to anything else, right? I'm not putting something up as a story. Mundaka Upanishat I'm teaching now. But why that focus is on the mind? Because that is the one that gets distracted. It gets distracted by what? It gets distracted by all those objects that you are in love with. You wanted to have, aspire, you get excited, you get depressed, all sorts of emotions. It's not just positive, negative also. So, do you all know what is the criteria for selecting somebody to be a surgeon or not in medical school? No? Mhm. I asked very question about surgery. They will ask you to show your hand like this. The hand has to be steady. It cannot go like this. This should stay. You can't go up, down, shake. Otherwise, imagine if they are trying to cut through a nerve in your head, performing a surgery in the head like this. They'll shave off everything. So, for this to remain steady, what is the important element? No. Okay. Now I want you to focus on specifics now. All this time you have been giving generic answers at a high level, philosophical, generic, literal meaning, etc. In all the last 6 or 7 classes, I'm trying to get you into the bullet points it will be like the hands and legs of a body. If you say what is a human body consists of, you can say two eyes, two ears, two hands, two legs. I want you to be able to connect the dots like that. So here, when you talk about the mind, if the mind goes out of control, it directly controls your heart rate. If you get anxious or if you get depressed, your heart beats. Otherwise, it can be 62. Suddenly, it will beat up or beat down. When that happens, it impacts your blood pressure as well as your breathing. So you start breathing like deep breath. That is when this whole shaking starts. That is why they say control the mind, sharpen it, that it remains focused. And if you keep focusing it, I would give one more example. If you must have seen it in the television serials, when those who are doing tapas, how do they show that they are doing tapas for years? What is it that they use? No idea. Imagine somebody, some asura standing, that is all fine. But in TV, they want to show you that this guy is doing tapas for many centuries. Huh? More than that, there will be all mud and mold sitting on top of it. Then the ants will go on top. Meaning what? Creepers. They are so isolated and they are still because they are so focused. They can't recognize, which means anything to do with Panchabhuta is cut off. Only then that focus is possible. Suddenly, one ant comes and you start moving like this, your tapas is gone. Correct? So it's very crystal clear. There's no doubt. So here it says, having drawn into that, you sharpen it by constant worship. So some people ask, what is the point in doing jabam every day? What is the point in doing puja every day? No, that is the purpose. Constant worship. Keep thinking about. So you can't say, oh, I will do it after retirement. Because anyway, I have to go to work. So don't say after retirement, because right now you have to start learning what to do so that when retirement you are able to do it. That's the question, right? Okay. So we will further expand on this into the next mantra. The next mantra is number 4, which starts with Pranavo Danuhu Sharo Hyatma Brahma Tallakshyamuchyate. Tallakshyamuchyate. Apramatena Vedhavyam Sharavat Tanmayo Bhavet. Apramatena Vedhavyam Sharavat Bhavet. So let's go individual words and meaning. What is Pranavaha? Om. Simple. Pranava means Om. Om. That's all. Pranava. Om is Pranava. Remember, that is the Akshara from where everything started. Sound comes later. Sound comes later. Okay? Correct. Yes. So, start with Pranava. Dhanuhu is bow. Sharaha is arrow. Atma is Atman. In this case, which Atma are we talking about? Do, no? Paramatma, Jivatma. Here we are talking about Jivatma. He's asking this good looking youth, no? The good looking youth is only Jivatma. Rekha is sweating. Oh man, so much to focus. Sharaha, arrow. In the previous mantra itself, I explained, no? Sharam. Okay, right now I remember. Yeah. Always the teacher will be put to test. So Sharaha is that, okay? Lakshyam means the mark. Who is the mark? Brahman. Vedhavyam should be hit or should be struck. Sharavat means like the arrow. Like, like the arrow. Tanmayaha, absorbed in him, one with it. Tanmayaha is absorbed in him, one with it. Bhavet, must become. So to summarize this, it means Pranava is the bow, the arrow is indeed the Atman, and Brahman is the mark. Pranava is the bow, the Om, which means the arrow is the Atman or the mind. You sharpen the mind, which is sharpening the arrow, load it on the bow, which is the Om, and fire, shoot. The goal is Brahman. So we discussed once the mind is stable, your breathing is stable. Your breathing is stable, your vitals are stable. This doesn't shake. So when you see bow and arrow archery competition, they will do all this and they have to be steady. The hand cannot move even a little bit. Here, the very important lesson of life. If the goal is that one dot, it is one dot. You cannot say, yeah, I am almost close to it. No. So don't you want to appreciate me? Some people have the habit of saying that. I almost did this. So will you not appreciate me? There's no point in hitting the arrow by the side. You're not going to get any points in the archery competition, right? You have to hit the target. So is it enough that you have a bow which is powerful, that can be strung tight? Is it enough to have a very sharp arrow? Is it enough that you load the arrow on the bow properly? Is it enough if you just have your body stable and in control, that it doesn't shake? Do you think you have got all the check boxes ticked for the arrow to hit the target? That is, yeah, that is no cheating. Yeah, that is fixed. But good one. Yes, I agree. I agree. Yeah, 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 yeah. 1 second, I have to take this. This is too late in the class. I just realized that if it is in the earbud, nothing of what you say is going to come on the YouTube. Anyway, yeah. On YouTube recording. Ah. So it is you must focus, keep your gaze steady, be strong. Totally concentrate on the eye of the receiver. So Arjuna says, "Everything I'm going to do, Krishna. What are you going to do?" So Krishna says, "I'll keep the water still." Correct. It's a beautiful and it's very powerful. The point there is we just take everything for granted. Yes. Still, there is one element that is missing. What is missing for ensuring that the arrow hits the target? The focus. Mind. Everything is there. You have to hit it. No, that is for sure. Without karma, there is no fruit. Understand one thing. When they focus, right, they will align the front of the arrow with that dot. Have you seen that? They won't look above and hit it. They will align their eye to see that arrow is already hitting the target. It's in the target, and then only they'll release it. You keep the eye slightly above or below, it will go exactly above or below. That is understood in Arjuna seeing only the eye of the parrot. He doesn't see the parrot of the tree. That's number one. Second, if you have been to skiing slopes in the US, in the training slopes, the first thing they'll say after putting the skis on is don't look sideways. Look straight where you want to go. And as human beings, we are very well trained to do what we are told not to do. As soon as they say go, we will all branch off into different directions and fall. Because we have that gossiping nature. What is it that he told us not to see? The moment we see, we will go. So you have to unlearn all these skills, sharpen your focus, sharpen your arrow, align it. And that is what he means by aikyam, be absorbed in him. Got it? So you cannot get excited with outside excitement. Oh, there is a cricket match going on. Oh, he hit a six. Amazon has delivered some good packet. Your mom is sending you a gift. There's a new iPhone launching in the market. None of this should bother you. So, was this helpful? All three mantras I took together because they're very similar messages. But they are describing the process in detail, very clearly, in a very simplistic fashion. So, final piece of recommendation. When you are learning these things now, avoid generic statements. Try to use the correct word at the correct place. Understand the difference between big and grand and large. They all have different meanings. Pay attention to that. And when the process is being described, focus on learning the elements of the whole game, the process. Don't worry about execution. While learning, you be in the class and learn. When you go to the lab, execution, that is when you will do the execution, right? So while learning, you cannot say, how am I going to focus? How am I going to concentrate? How am I going to do constant worship? I've got meetings almost every Tuesday and Wednesday. Keep that aside. First, while learning, you first learn what you're supposed to do. At least you have the knowledge. So when tomorrow your situation changes, you know what to execute. Got it? It's a very important lesson. So with that, I will wrap up unless you have any more questions or you want me to repeat anything. Interesting, Anu?
Yes. Yeah, that is it. I took an
Good. Fine. Excellent. Thank you so much for being patient. Sorry once again to keep you waiting. Take care. Good night.